今天再接着讲诸行无常。
Today, we will continue the discussion in the subject of all conditioned things are impermanent. This is a very important Dharma seal. The four seals of the Dharma is the core essence in practicing Buddhism. We can reach this state of completion if we follow the guidance from the four seals of the Dharma, which was taught in a book written by Mipham Rinpoche.
第一法印诸行无常。
The first seal, all conditioned things are impermanent. In accordance with this statement, first, a conditioned thing is a phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions, all belongs to the category of composite things. Understand that all of them, no matter which, are impermanent because they arise and cease moment by moment. Anything that has not emerged from causes has not arisen. Things that have arisen were absent before the causes and conditions came together and formed the first moment of arising, immediately after their causes came together in full. In the next instant, after their moment of formation, they do not remain but cease. As long as the collection of their causes have not relented, one encounters a continuity that successively resembles the previous. Immature beings may think that a thing is permanent from when it emerges until it collapses. They are simply mistaken. In reality, just like a waterfall, the flame of a butter lamp, and the like, everything, the universe of physical matter outside, the body within it, and the primary and subsidiary mental states included within consciousness, are arising and ceasing moment by moment. In this way, understand that all things, from lightning, bubbles, clouds, and the like, all the way up to mountains, are alike in their momentary nature, no matter how long they seem to remain. Why is this? We know from observation that all these things perish in the end and have different occasions during their subsistence. If they did not change from the first instant, it would be unreasonable for them to perish in the end or to have separate different features in between. This is because even if it were reasonable for things to permanently remain exactly according to the first moment following their initial emergence, the fact that such is not the case has been verified by direct perception. The four seals of the Dharma taught by Buddha Shakyamuni consist of the core essences of all Dharmas and conclude the most important teachings.
按次序讲，应该是有漏皆苦诸行无常，诸法无我。
The four seals should be in this sequential order. Everything defiling is suffering. All conditioned things are impermanent. All phenomena are empty and devoid of a self-entity. Nirvana is peace. This sequential order represents the progressive stages of Buddhism practices. If we practice the four seals, which cover the framework of all dharmas, we will reach the ultimate state of completion.
法印那么呢，印是印定就是说四法印呢是定论，它印定了万法的体相规律。
Seal of the Dharma. Seal has four meanings. Definitive explanation. The four seals of the Dharma are the conclusive findings of truth. They show us the laws of existence and the principles of all phenomena. Access. With the knowledge of the four seals of the Dharma, one can gain access to all the knowledge that is known to the world. That means you can understand the full meaning of immeasurable boundless knowledge without any obstacle. Validation. They serve as a verifying measurement of the authenticity of a teaching. If a teaching aligns with the four seals of the Dharma, it is Buddhism. On the contrary, it is not genuine Buddhism if teaching does not fulfill all four seals of the Dharma. Endorsement. The four seals bond the spirit of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that they unify and endorse each other in the same base. Everyone who comes to study Buddhism is looking for the truth. The four seals of the Dharma contain all the truth of the universe and its core essence. Therefore, everyone who determines to seek the truth should study the four seals of the Dharma. Mipham Rinpoche has written about the four seals of the Dharma in a very simple way that is actually very easy to understand. Here I further explain them to you. Having thoroughly explained the above manner, the meaning of the 10 topics to be learned in, I shall now by means of reasoning resolve the meaning of the four seals of the Dharma, which is their essence to be realized. The treatise entitled The Gate for Entering the Way of a Pandita says, comprehending perfectly the 10 topics, you teach beings the meaning of the four seals. The teachings of the 10 topics could be found in many doctrines such as the Mahayana Six Paramita Sutra and the distinguishing the middle from the extremes, and also other Mahayana doctrines. These teachings are categorized as the topics of aggregates and the topics of elements and more. If we sort them out in depth and in width, the 10 topics are the width that capture the main ideas in the four seals of the Dharma, whereas the four seals of the Dharma is the depth. One covers the spectrum of depth, the other one, the 10 topics, covers the spectrum of width. Here it says, by means of reasoning, indicates the method of approach.
这个四法印呢，就是放之四海皆准的这个法则。
The four seals of the Dharma are the principles of the universe. They are always precise. They are the constant laws in the past, present, and future. The four verses are, all conditioned things are impermanent. Everything defiling is suffering. Nirvana is peace. All phenomena are empty and devoid of a self-entity. These four verses are the principles of the universe. All things and phenomena, large or small, are derived from these four lines. Because they are the truth, all existence is branched off from them. They are the essence of the truth.
这个我们就是一定要戳串写啊，记住了，那么呢，生生世世都不会忘记啊。
We have to continuously practice till it becomes a habit, that we will never forget life after life. We can be sure that from now on, we will not be taken away by other ideas and beliefs. When you spend your entire life practicing these four tenets, and with a lot of cultivation, even if you encounter the heterodox, you will always make sound judgments, even without having to learn Buddhism. It happens like that when you have a good foundation. You can tell if it is evil or good right away.
古圣贤为了求证真理，付出了无数的心血。
The ancient sages made countless efforts in order to obtain the truth. One might even give up his life for a stanza of wisdom.
就是能够遇到这个法呢，就是一定要好好的学明白了，升起定解，然后好好串习。
Now that we have such blessings to encounter this Dharma, we must use our greatest possible efforts to learn it well. We will generate the relentless and unwavering insight when we understand it thoroughly. To further continue with constant practices, we will cultivate habituality. As for the four seals of the Dharma, all conditioned things are impermanent, and everything defiling is suffering. These are secular seals.
凡是由因缘造作的法，必然是刹那灭的体性。
Any phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions must arise and cease moment by moment based on its nature. That's called all conditioned things are impermanent. This is also a step forward to further comprehending the emptiness of dependent origination as the preliminary to realizing emptiness. If you want to know about all phenomena are empty and devoid of a self-entity, you have to first understand what all conditioned things are impermanent is. All phenomena are empty and devoid of a self-entity talks about the nature of dependent origination is empty. It says here, all phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions. That means all phenomenon that are arisen from a dependent origination must cease instantaneously based on the nature of its formation. To further elaborate, all existence of dependent origination are empty by nature. I said it before, that you should first understand all conditioned things are impermanent. Then you can move on to understand all phenomena are empty and devoid of a self-entity. Within the conditioned Dharma, when a phenomena is defiled with afflictions, the nature of the formation is suffering. Thus it is called everything defiling is suffering. A portion of the conditioned Dharma is called the defiled Dharma. Defiled Dharma is mixed with affliction, and its nature of the formation is suffering. This defines everything defiling is suffering. We should make good efforts to get familiar and acquainted with it. Now let's talk about all conditioned things are impermanent.
那么所谓行呢，是由因缘造作或者所做的法，此等一切皆是刹那生灭。
In accordance with this statement, first, a conditioned thing is any phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions, or belongs to the category of composite things. Understand that all of them, no matter which, are impermanent because they arise and cease moment by moment. A conditioned thing is any phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions, or belongs to the category of composite things. All of them arise and cease moment by moment. Conditioned thing is also called composite phenomena. Conditioned means modified, as if a running river is going through a process. Composite phenomena has a meaning of compound and fabricated. Composite phenomena is a compound of causes and conditions. It is also called compound phenomena.
任何有为法的状态都是牵流不息，从
All
状
the
态上
composite
安立
phenomena
一致，
are
就
in a
叫做
state of
行。
being modified through a process, which is the same status as of the conditioned thing.
所作法，造作。
Compound phenomena, fabrication.
这个行呢，
This
应该是
concept
属
of
于十二因
conditioned
缘里面
belongs
那
to
个
the
无明
idea of
缘行
ignorance in the system of the
无明缘
12
行呢，当
links
然这
of
个小乘法
dependent
这个无明是讲
originations.
人无我了，大乘法里
Ignorance
面的
in
无明是讲
Theravada,
法无我了。
the Ludovico
这
Buddhism,
里的因
refers
缘
to the
因指
absence
尽
of
取因，
self of a
缘指
person.
具有缘。
Ignorance in Mahayana, the great vehicle Buddhism, refers to the absence of inherent existence of any phenomenon. As for causes and conditions, cause refers to material cause, and condition refers to simultaneous condition that gives rise to particular effects together. In the situation such as the sprouting of a seed, in the view of causes and conditions, the material cause is the seed,
比
and
如
the
产生芽的
simultaneous
因缘当
conditions
中，
that give
种子
rise
是
to
尽
the
取因，和种子
sprouting
配合的
are
水土、
water,
阳光等助
soil,
缘叫
and
具有缘。
sunlight. Then the
那么就有因缘
fabrication
造作。
of causes and conditions produces
这
the
个
phenomena of
从世俗地上
sprouting.
讲是因缘的哈，
Based
从
on
这
the
个大乘
teaching
空
of
性上讲，这些
conventional
都是缘
truth,
起法。
this refers to causes and conditions. Based on the teaching of emptiness in Mahayana Buddhism, this refers to Dharma of dependent arising.
我们说了一切万法不是有因生，也不是无因生，
We have said
就
that
是说
all
不是自
phenomena
生，
do
不
not
是他生
emerge
啊，
from
你自生
causes,
或者他
nor
生，
do
那就
they
是有因
emerge
生，
without a
但也不
cause.
是无因生，
It means that nothing is
就是
formed
这样来
solely
讲
by
啊。
itself, and nothing is formed by others. Either being formed by selves or others, things must be arisen from causes. But also things cannot arise without causes.
这
The
个芽果
result
呢，
of
并不
sprouting
是
is
本有
not
的法，
self-emerging.
是原先
It
没
does
有，
not
后来才
exist
由
before
种
the
子水
causes
土
and
产生的，
conditions such as
叫做
seed,
所作
water,
法。
soil.
所谓
This
生
is
呢，就是
called
原先没有，
compound
后来呢，
phenomena.
是显现
When
出
we
来
call
的。
a thing exists, it actually is
芽
the
果
after
在第一
effects
刹那
manifested from the
产生之
original
后，不住
state
第二
of
刹那就坏灭
non-existing.
了，所以是无常。既然它
When
像
the
闪电那
sprouting
样
of
一刹那
seed
就消
happens
失
in the
了，
first moment of
当然就没
arising,
有常的体
sprouting
性。
is finished in the next
因为
instant,
常的意思是
so it is
保持不
called
变，
impermanent.
现在呢只是
Since it
显现一
disappears
刹
in
那，
an instant
所以就
like
是无常。
lightning, Its nature
虽然
of
雅果是
formation
这
is
样，十
impermanence.
方三世所
If
有
it is
有因
permanent,
缘
it
造作
never
的法，
changes.
没有一个不
If
是
it
刹
only
那生
appears
灭
for
的，
an
所以
instant and
都是无
disappears
常，
next,
叫做诸
it is
行无常。
impermanent. It is not just about the sprouting of seeds. All phenomenon whose formation is through causes and conditions, arise and cease moment by moment, are subject to impermanence without exception. Therefore it says, all conditioned things are impermanent.
这就是一大真理，在这个无量无边的有为法上面都存在，谁都无法推翻。
This is an immense truth that it covers immeasurable boundless composite phenomena, and there is no way to defy this truth. The following
下
is
面呢
a
就是说具体
specific
的描述诸行
description
无
of
常
the
的意
meaning
义，
of
这是
all
引导我们
conditioned
进一步
things are
精确地
impermanent.
认识有为法的
This
存
will
在
guide
状
us
况。
to further
进一
understand
步
the
解释
existence of composite
就是
phenomena
说谋
with
法
greater
未从因
detail.
生，
Here is the
还
further
没有生即未生。
explanation.
谋法与
Anything
生
that has not
在诸
emerged
因
from
缘
causes
积
has
聚
not a
之前
reason.
尚无
Things
存
that
在，
have a reason were
在因缘
absent
积聚
before
的
the
无间
causes and
即成立
conditions
为
came
生的第一
together
刹那，
and formed
它
the
也是
first
从自
moment
己
of
形
arising.
成的刹那不住的
Immediately
第二
after
刹
their
那而坏灭的，
causes came
并
together
且
in
在因
full,
缘还
the
在
next instant,
聚合
after
尚
their
未退
moment of
失期间，
formation,
后
they do
以
not
前
remain but
同类
cease.
的相续
As
不
long
间
as the
断而
collection
延
of the
续。
causes have not relented, one encounters a continuity that successively resembles the previous.
这个其实
In
都
fact,
师
I
父都
have
反复解
repeatedly
释过
explained this.
一
As
个
for
事
an
物呢，
object or
它有一
phenomena,
个
it is
前
indeed
前
a
后后同类
continuity
的
that successively
相续不
resembles
间
the
断
previous.
而延续。
What collapses are
那么
actually
就
the
所谓的灭呢，
relenting
就
of
是
the
在因
causes
缘
and
退逝
conditions.
因缘
If
这
the
个散
causes
掉
and
了，
conditions are
那么我
dissipated,
们就说这个
it
事
is
物
called
就死
an
亡了。
end of the phenomena.
但是在因缘还在聚
As
合
long
尚未
as the
退逝期
collection of
间，
their
刹
causes
那
have
刹那
not
的
relented,
相似相
a
续。
continuity that
只
successively
要能生的
resembles
因
the
缘还没有
previous
退逝，同
is
类的相
arising
续
and
就会一直
ceasing
延
moment
续
by
不
moment.
断。这
If
就
the
是安
arising
住
causes and conditions have not
同
yet
类
receded,
就是相同
the
的种类，
continuity
在
of the
显现的相上，
resemblances
第二
will
刹那和第一
persist
刹那同类，
ceaselessly.
第三刹那
This
和
is
第二
how
刹
the
那同类，
formations seem to
同类相
remain.
续。
Resemblance is a way in
我们说
which
刹那刹那
different
相
things
似
are
相续。
like. The second moment
那么
resembles the
推演开
first
来呢，一切
moment,
有为法
and
都是
the
如此
third
的。
moment resembles
我
the
们凡夫
second
呢，就是
moment,
在这个
so
同类
on and
相续
so
的时候
forth.
呢，就制造为
This is
常。
called the
当这个事
continuity
物
of
呢，
the
就是
resembling
因缘
phenomenon.
消失以后
This
呢，
is what we
同类
say,
不相续
a
的时候，我们就
continuity
认
of
为断灭了，
resemblances
我们
is
就认为这个事
arising
物
and
死掉了，
ceasing moment
我
by
们就制作它
moment.
是断。
To further
不是
elaborate,
制作长就
all
制作断。
composite
所以说
phenomenon
我
has
们的
this
凡夫
same
呢，
nature.
无量以来
We
呢，就是这
ordinary
样
people
串
are
习。
very stubborn.
因为众
We
生愚
take
痴，
grasp of the
我
continuity
们
of
制作
the
长的时候，
resembling
事实上它是无
phenomenon
常的；
as
我们制
permanent.
作它断的时候，它
When
也
the
并没有
causes and
断灭。
conditions of the resembling
这
phenomenon
个
are
很重
dissipated,
要哈。
we insist that this
下
is
面有
an
关诸
end.
行无常的道理呢，
We
把
either
握了
cling
原则
on
之
to the
后呢，
idea
就
of
应该
phenomenon
让
being
它具体化，
permanent
也
or
就是在
being
具体的
ended.
事项上观察诸
We,
行无常的
as the
意义，
immature or ordinary
记录观
people,
察的思路。
have habitualized this ignorance since eons ago. When we cling on to the idea of things being permanent, they are actually impermanent. When we cling on to the idea of things having ended, they are actually not yet over. To understand this part is so important. I have just dealt with the concepts of impermanence. When you get a good hold of the principles of impermanence, you should apply them in reality. That is to observe what surrounds you and think about what it means for impermanence.
先
Mipham
知麦
Rinpoche
范
has
仁波切呢，已
opened
经为
up
我们
the
开
way
通
for
了，
us
只
to
要你照着
observe
套
and
用就可
think.
以。
You just need to apply it.
比如有为法的花是怎么无常呢？把论中的谋法换成花，
For
因缘换
example,
成种子
how
水、
can we see the
土、阳
impermanence
光、
of a
时间等，
flower in the
然后
scope
呢
of
就会
conditioned
产生具体
Dharma?
的认识。
First, we pick
花还没有从花
certain seal
盆
of
里
the
的
Dharma
种子、
and
水、
apply it to the
土中
subject matter of
开出的时候，什么
flower.
花也没有，
Then we find out the causes and
就是
conditions,
花还没有
which
产
are
生。
the
现在花开了，
seeds,
它
water,
又如何呢？
soil, sunlight, time, and more.
往前
Eventually,
看，因
an
缘还没有
understanding
聚
of
集，
reality will be
确实一
formed.
无所有。在
There
种子、
was no
水和
flower
土
before
的
it
因缘
arose
和
from
合
the
的
seed,
无
water,
间，
and
忽
soil
然
in the
间显
pot.
现了花，
The flower was
这是花的
absent.
第一刹那。
The flower had not
而
yet
且
been
呢，它
formed.
不住
Now that the
第二
flower is
刹那就灭
blooming,
了。
what is this? Looking back, when the causes and conditions had not yet come together in full, the flower was absent. After the continuous convergence of causes and conditions, such as seeds, water, and soil, the flower is formed. The first moment of the formation of the flower will perish, and in the next moment it won't remain exactly as the first moment. Because the first moment has already vanished, the flower will continue the arising and ceasing moment by moment, continuously for a few more days, based on its resembling causes and conditions. This is the true nature of existence of a flower, as we labeled it as a flower. In fact, a flower is impermanent. This is a universal principle that represents the true nature of formation. All conditioned things are impermanent. It's a formula that is applicable to most phenomena. This brilliant understanding surpasses that of all scientists and all philosophers, and even surpasses the sum of the achievement of all Nobel Prize winners in over 100 years of the past.
所以说，你看这么好的东西，竟然没有人认识。
It is a pity that such superb knowledge is not widely known.
不久的将来，西方的科学家都会乌泱乌泱的来学佛。
I'm sure that in the near future, many scientists will find it very trendy to study Buddhism. This universal principle seems simple, but it is not easy to practice and cultivate. The above generally revealed the common nature of all conditioned phenomena, which is all conditioned things are impermanent.
对此呢，我们要认识到两个。
The main teachings are in two parts. One, the universality.
普遍性
Two,
和
the
刹那性。
instantaneousness. Universality means that it is applicable to all conditioned phenomena. Instantaneousness means that everything is arising and ceasing moment by moment, and the previous instance does not remain but ceases in the succeeding instance. All of the otherwise teachings are heretical. It is an obstacle if you see the truth by applying heresy. This is ignorance. Being without wisdom is ignorance. This wisdom seems very simple. Those of us who study Buddhism are used to these ideas, but not many of us really understand this great truth in its totality. I know some Buddhist votaries can't even tell you much about what all conditioned things are impermanent is. They might know roughly what it meant, but if you ask for a clear explanation, it would be impossible. From now on, I want you to be capable of explaining it to others very clearly. How? If you listen to this talk, understand it thoroughly, then practice till you get familiar and acquainted with it. You can make it. Just yesterday, I was telling another teacher to listen to the recording of my speech for 10 times. She followed and listened to it 10 times. If all of you are so obeying, then I am really relieved. I would be even more relieved if you have some achievements. So I think about the next step. We still have to talk about how to listen to your teacher. Many of you are still not good enough at that. Actually, gaining achievement is a very simple thing. You only need to let go of your old perceptions, surrender your self-clinging mind, and then follow what is taught to you. You will be not too far from achieving enlightenment. However, it is rare nowadays. You should know that those who listen and follow through will achieve enlightenment the fastest. Faith is the first consciousness in the 10 wholesome mental factors. The stronger the faith is, the more diligent you are. The more diligent you are, the more you cultivate the mind of repentance. Practitioners who are not diligent enough would find it hard to feel the need to repent. Only when one realizes that he is not finding the energy to progress, he will then feel regretful. As for those who are really willing to practice diligently, they will be able to generate repentance. Someone might like to say, I really feel ashamed and regretful. This person actually enjoys saying this without shame. How can one be feeling ashamed all the time? Do you really think that you are as diligent? And you keep saying always ashamed. I think if you are able to just occasionally feel ashamed and regretful, you are already doing pretty good, not bad at all. You really have to be grateful. Do you know how unusual it is to have met a good Dharma teacher in this time of the latter era? It is really not easy, and it takes the compassion of the teacher who is willing to come into this world to help you. You must be grateful. Some of you are not grateful enough. They don't practice well, they are lazy and procrastinate, and they don't have enough faith. It draws my energy when you are unmotivated like this.
那对此呢，凡夫认为万事万物从产生到未灭之间是常住的，这是错乱而已，错乱而已。
Immature beings may think that a thing is permanent from when it is emerges until it collapses. They are simply mistaken. It is illusion and delusion. They are mistaken. An ordinary mind cannot distinguish the nuances of the differences between the preceding and succeeding moments when they resembling continuously. It is easy to have mistaken that they are identical and think that things are permanent. This is the delusion we are most prone to, and we make this mistake all the time.
从这里知道，我们不能够相信自己的心呐。
This is saying we cannot rely on what we believe. Do not trust your own mind. As a human being, we trust our senses. However, we don't even know how inaccurate our senses are, and this is the mistake. We have mistaken throughout our entire life and have been mistaken eternally, life after life. Making this mistake is not our only problem. With arrogance sky high and obsession as strong as steel, we believe that we are the greatest thinkers and the smartest things on earth. An ordinary man can only bear an ordinary mind. How ignorant, immature, are far from being mature. Buddhism says that with ordinary people there are four mistakes that are opposite to the four virtues of nirvana: eternality, bliss, true self, purity. The biggest mistake of them all is taking what is impermanent to permanent. It makes people deluded about seeing this false world as stable and solid, and believe taking possession of things is real.
This is a severe insanity. Do you think that you, as an ordinary person, are just fine? This is a very serious mental illness.
We are very fortunate to have taken refuge in Buddhism, and we have the opportunity to learn about the truth. In fact, before knowing Buddhism, our understanding and behaviors were mostly mistaken. The purpose of studying Buddhism is to turn our point of view from the ordinary mindset to the Buddhist mindset. We can gradually get into this higher level of understanding according to what we have learned in Buddhism.
因为我们平常看到什么就是知道它是常的嘛，是吧？太习惯了，太习以为常了。这个颠倒的太久了嘛，从一生戳到无量生了，你串习了这么久。
We have become so attached to what we see and think that things are permanent. We get very familiar and acquainted with this mistake not just this life, but for eternity.
一切行为的源头是见解啊。
How we behave is based on what
一切
we
行为的
believe.
源头是见解，见解颠倒，不做及时的纠正，那么迷乱的轮回怎么能够止息呢？心态和行为怎么能够清净呢？
With this mistaken belief and without timely correction, how is it possible to end the recycling of rebirth? How can our mind and actions become pure? How can we let
无
go
意
of
义的追求
meaningless
怎么能够放下
pursuits?
呢？
Therefore,
所以树立正见
establishing
是
a
当务
right
之
view
急啊！
is most important now
人
without
人都
any
需要在这个
delay.
根本上努力。
Everyone needs to make
再
good
看
efforts
真
to
实的状况。
practice this fundamental
实际
and
上，无论
reflect
是
this
外
in
在的
real
无
life.
形的气世界，
In
亦或
reality,
内在
just
的
like a
根正
waterfall, the flame of a butter
心
lamp, and the
所
like,
摄
everything,
的
the universe of
心网
physical
和
matter
心所，
outside, the body
一
within
切都
it,
像流
and the
水
primary
灯
and
焰般
subsidiary mental
自发
state
生灭的，
included within consciousness
这
are
是真实
arising
的
and
情况。
ceasing moment by moment. This is the true reality.
我们眼里的世界和真实的世界相差很远。
The world we see is indeed far from reality.
我
Our
们的
naked
眼睛
eyes
这个
can only see
只
the
能看到模
superficial
模糊
world,
糊的世界
which is vague and
表面
illusory.
的
Just like the
产
example I
生错
gave you
觉。
the other day, If you were in Mongolia gazing out across the beautiful endless grassland, you would love it so much. You would see herds of white lambs afar and hear the happy herders singing their shepherd songs. With so much joy in your heart, you set up a tent to get ready for a stay. Then as the tent is set, you go inside. And now what do you see? Cattle dung and sheep dung all over the place. You find insects too. Therefore, when you take a closer look to things, you will find that the reality is not what you see from a distance. If we could clearly see what is on our skin, I bet you would like to wash yourself all day over and over again. The other day I used a microscope to see the oil I squeezed out from the pores on my nose. There was a lot of oily substance and terribly to find that some bugs were crawling on it.
You probably still think that your nose looks pretty good, but only from a distance.
What is our perception of the earth? We think that under our feet is solid earth, but in fact, the earth is hollow. We think that we are inside a solid building. We think that our body and mind are constant and solid. This is so wrong. In fact, the land and the sea in the external world and the body and mind in the internal world all are illusions. In reality, just like a waterfall, the flame of a butter lamp, and the like, everything are rising and ceasing moment by moment. The whole world has changed completely just in the blink of an eye. It's like raindrops falling densely between the sky and the earth, and there is no stability at all. The world is like flickering flames, wavering and ever-changing. Which part of it is permanent? If you reflect this high understanding upon our ordinary understanding, you will see how deluded you are. If your mind has always been seriously mistaken, how can you not have lived a wrongful way? This delusion of things being permanent and constant is still firmly shrouding our mind. It is like wearing a pair of undetachable glasses called the constant glasses, that everything you see has the illusion of being constant.
再看诸位的人都身在迷中不知迷，大家说的做的全是颠倒的。
Look at the people around you. They are all deluded, but they don't know. Whatever they say, do, and think is a mistake.
论中以河流和灯焰做比喻。
In this doctrine, Mipham Rinpoche used the waterfall and the flame of a butter lamp as the metaphors, both of which are symbolic for instantaneousness. They work like a bolt of lightning from a blue sky that can awaken people in the world.
真理是普遍性的
Truth is universal. Most people can never imagine that as strong as steel is, or as big as mountains are, and all other composite phenomena, they are just as instantaneous as waterfall and flame. Only very few spiritual people can understand the impermanence of all things by observing a waterfall. After learning this seal of the Dharma, you can see that everything is changing moment by moment and is impermanent. You can see that this is the law of the universe. This law is splendid. In the past 100 years, many great physicists have been trying to establish a cosmic equation for the unified field theory that can unify everything with one. Actually, Buddhism is the only place that provides the final solution. What is the universal truth? These four seals of the Dharma are the most thorough, intelligent, and concise interpretation. These four truths are the four ultimate principles. Buddha is amazing. He has great wisdom. In this way, understand that all things, from lightning, bubbles, clouds, and the like, all the way up to mountains, are alike in their momentary nature, no matter how long they seem to remain.
就是不管你相识相续多久刹那性这一点上，万事万物都是全部扯平了。
No matter how long they seem to remain unchanged, their momentary nature is universal, and that put all things on the same scale. We see things as very diverse based on their physicality. That is because we lack wisdom. In reality, according to the doctrine, all composite phenomena are instantaneous. It is indeed a universal unity. Things such as lightning, bubbles, clouds, and the like exist for a short moment and they perish very quickly. And then things such as Mount Meru seem to have existed forever. Comparing the time span of existence of the two kinds, which are momentary versus forever, they are diverse. But in light of their universal nature,
在刹那性上完全平等。
all are equal on the scale of instantaneousness. As diversified as human beings seem to be, men and women, young and old, beautiful and ugly, intelligent and illiterate, all have the same destination, which is death. There are thousands of worlds in Buddhism, from hells to heavens. They are all instantaneous, even though they have different time spans of continuity. Therefore, if you understand the nuances of impermanence, you will know that everything in all worlds is just an instance. I have done explaining to you the infinite possibilities of time spans of subsistence among different things.
但是在法性上都同样是刹那性。
However, the nature of phenomena is universal in all, which is the instantaneousness.
就是有为法的体性上。
This is the nature of the composite phenomena.
所以差别中有平等，平等中有差别。
So there is equality in difference, and there is difference in equality.
好，我们今天
Okay,
就
this
讲
is
到这
it
里。
for today.